So nobody's surprised about what is happening.
The global headquarters of Channels Television in Lagos is the venue of the 2018 edition of the Channels Forum. Technocrats, economic and policy analysts, all carefully drawn from different critical sectors in Nigeria, gather to review, analyze, and chart a new course for the country's political and socio-economic development with Channels Television, creating a platform for a critical, unbiased, and accurate analysis beamed live from Channels Television studios in Lagos and Abuja.
Quite sincerely,
the forum begins with an assessment of the change mantra of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC.
The more things appear to change, the more they remain the same. So we've had a lot of rhetoric on change. It's just more of the same, quite sincerely.
This government does not measure, they don't control, they don't monitor. This is a government that does not key performance indicators for its ministers. Before, we used to hear of ministers being compared or being judged on the pages of newspapers, that this one has performed, this one has not performed. Have you heard of anything?
Change is something that is continuous. Has change happened at the pace I would prefer? No. But some things are changing. Our agenda, at least, has shifted. You talk about corruption. Perhaps if I were running things, I would approach it differently. But the fact that we are focused on corruption is a major move.
The key issue for me is that the APC and its predecessor have not in any way addressed the fundamental structural issues that we have as a Nigerian people.
And what would you say is
And I would say that the topmost one is our obsession for lottery that comes out of being an oil-rich economy.
It gets heated and even more interactive, with panelists disagreeing, making clarifications, and straightening loose ends on the issue of economy, unemployment, policies, and foreign diplomacy.
I mean, only somebody who is inattentive or in denial will say there is no change, in the sense that the numbers are changing, the records are changing.
We need to study the data. Numbers don't lie, right? And I'll put down a quote from Hans Rosling. He says, data allows your political judgment to be based on facts to the extent that what numbers describe reality. Have we benefited from democracy? That is the question we need to ask ourselves.
There is no doubt that facts matter, but those facts inform policy. So the first thing you do when you are confronted with the facts he has given is to have a clarity of vision and a clarity of direction. Now, did this government have a clarity of vision and a clarity of direction? Of course it did. Clearly, for the first time, you were told we're going to work on security, we're going to work on anti-corruption, and we're going to work on the economy.
What has happened is that the level of investment has stabilized, but it's not up to that optimal level. So suboptimality of performance is still a problem. And how do we get there? We get there by actually believing in ourselves and putting in the efforts that are there.
The fight against corruption comes on the front burner, as analysts have their independent views on how the current government is fighting this hydra-headed issue. Others have answers to those views, articulating them and convincingly too.
If you're going to put out a list of looters, all of whom are undergoing trial, then just do that for everybody. So you have to include in that list somebody like Ojikalu, for instance, Ojikalu, who is now a close confidant of the president. If the Secretary to the Government of the Federation has been investigated by the Vice President, the National Security Advisor, and the Attorney General of the Federation, on the basis of which the President has fired him, and you're telling me that that is not authoritative enough to send him to court, there's a problem with fighting corruption.
Hello, the case involving the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation has been investigated by at least 2 panels before now, but the matter is on the table of the EFCC. We are currently doing our investigation, and at the end of the investigation, if we have credible evidence to charge him to court, he will definitely be taken to court.
The very first fundamental way to fight corruption is deterrence. The body language of the leader in every context and situation is so significant such that it can send a signal into the entire system.
Channels Forum isn't a talk shop, but a platform for national discussion on issues of national interest. The suggestions from these analysts are expected to drive a new Nigeria, especially at this time when the country's democracy is embarking on its 20th year democratic voyage. They say the time to test waters is over, and now is the time to walk the talk.
And for me, this issue